Alrighty, um, let's get it rolling. So today in the call we have Imtiaz and the Jumpstart team with Thiago and Fabiano. Just a few words about them and me. I'm Julius. I started the visa community for overall immigration because I care about it and the difficult immigration journey myself, and love to bring the best talented people to this country. And then Jumpstart has been so kind to help us run these events. Actually, the last like what 5 months now. Pretty cool. And then today we brought in Buildur.AI, who focus on actually helping you create a strong profile. But that's it from my end. I want to leave enough room for them. So I'll pass it on to Jumpstart to also say a few words and then to Buildur.AI.
Hey guys, basically our edge is always choose math and AI to maximize your chance. So basically we use a lot of data to understand what is accepted or not in all types of visas. For O-1 visas, we have a base with more than 700 data points. So basically we try to understand in details everything that's working well or not. And sometimes we are able to identify trends and bias that sometimes humans or lawyers cannot see. In the end, we also use lawyers, but I think the most important thing about Jumpstart is to use math, AI, and try to be really objective, at least to try to estimate things, and also to review a lot and a lot, because this is something that indeed prevent a lot of the requests for evidence and sometimes denial. Uh, so we use all types of the review. We review in group, paralegal, the paralegal review, the lawyers review, and then our AI also review. So something that you can be sure if you move with us is that we are going to review a lot your process. So that's it. Oh, and we have a refund policy, by the way, because we really believe in our methodology. And also, even the government fees, there is insurance that you can pay. And if we fail and we lose the process, we refund and you can get even the government fees. So our ad is basically to provide safer applications, especially financially, because in the end, we want to include more financial services for immigrants in the US.
Awesome. Over to Buildur.AI. Let's kick this off.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks, Luis, for inviting me for this.
Sorry, man, I had to mute you real quick. There was like a crazy noise issue. Could you use a different um, microphone, please?
Try to be sure. I will try to be short in terms of the explanations and try to give you a sense of what works or not, because I think a lot of people are in the group and you have a lot of questions if something specifically qualify or not. And being completely honest with you, there are some type of evidence that sometimes is so strong that of course qualify. The opposite is also real. And indeed, we have some gray area, some things that we don't know, actually. This is for all law firms. And a way to understand something is always to if something qualify or not, is always try to find someone in real life that were accepted really soon. Try to get someone that was approved recently, because immigration policies change a lot. And sometimes you have some variations over time also about what they accept or not. For example, 2 months ago, they implement AI tool. They start to reject a lot of VC checks as a word, and right now it's not clear if they're going to accept or not, because basically they have AI trained based on the immigration manual, but the VC check counting as a word is defined by a court decision, and this AI was not accepting. So sometimes things just shift. So it's really important to check when exactly a specific person was approved with a specific evidence. And same thing for membership. I would say 1 or 2 years ago, they accept a lot of membership, especially business incubators, a lot of stuff that they don't accept anymore. This is also related to AI because right now the US government hire Palantir to monitor and check the applications. So basically, they can go through a website, scan everything really fast, and the process always try to get evidence against you. So before this AI area, the officer need to read and believe in you. It's not feasible to officer go to a website, check everything, all the aspect, and then get a conclusion for everything that you present. But right now they do with this with AI, and you should exercise that. For example, if you apply for a membership, try to check if their website is saying, hey, we help junior folks to become founders. We help you to navigate from -1 to 1 or to 0. All of these are tips that are not in the top of your field. So basically, this can use against you just to deny your case. So try to think that basically everything that you present should collaborate with the idea that you are extraordinary. So right now, even if you include a membership or anything, or a business incubator or a award, they're going to check their website. And if it's something against you, it's going to be used against you to provide a request for evidence and then a denial. So try to reverse engineer their movements, how they check, and basically to have a better sense if something qualify or not. So this is what I'm going to talk about right now. Let me present here, and I can provide more details. But in the end, is things change also. So be aware and always try to get really fresh reference about what work or not. Uh, about us, our edge is basically to use math and AI to replicate all these movements that I mentioned to identify bias and trends in the evaluation and use that to improve your chance. That's Jumpstart. And about the presentation. My co-founder and I, we are from the Brazilian Air Force University. I also studied at MIT. I figured the Guinness Book with the largest business competition I created 4 years ago. And my co-founder was working with a legal tech invested by Sequoia in Brazil. And then we joined to create Jumpstart. And I create because I moved 3 times and I realized always really difficult. This scares people a lot. And different than other firms, our edge is exactly to solve this problem, like how we use AI to let people feel safer with their process financially. So that's the idea. We don't believe that AI is going to replace a lawyer in terms of sophistication. A lawyer will be a lawyer for at least 2 or 3 years and is going to present a lot of nice and amazing petitions. So AI can hallucinate a lot. For us, our edge is how we use all of this to try to estimate our chances, to prevent all this rejection for things that we can replicate from our side. So that's it. We don't use AI to bullshit or just like to provide a better experience. We are really focused on approval, and we are really transparent. We don't believe that someone can have a 100% approval rate. I think basically you can create things that maximize your chance, and we can mitigate the financial risk, providing a refunded policy with no catch. It's so simple. It's totally binary, like is approved or denied, and that's it. And right now we create also an insurance for the government fees, because sometimes you are rejected and you lose 4K. It's a lot of money. So we always want to protect you. That's it. And talk about the subject. Basically, I'm going to present some trade-offs that we always analyze. And if someone has questions, can send in the chat. Sometimes the answer is depend. So if something is not clear, you can DM us after we are always in the group, okay? So in terms of let me change a little bit. In terms of the framework, sometimes people ask if something qualify or not, but they forget what we are talking about. We are talking about evidence that is going to support the idea that you are extraordinary. So exercise that you can do to help you to understand what qualify or not is basically to think someone really successful in our field and try to see if the things that you are suggesting has a fit or not with this person. For example, business incubator is always a question if you qualify as membership. And being completely honest, membership is the criterion with more oscillation that I saw in life. Like we already apply with clients with like co-founders with a pretty similar process, and basically they reject a specific criteria. I'm saying that just to explain that the system is also not so objective in terms of the classification of a membership. But in the end, a lot of people has questions because in the past they accept a lot, and right now they are not accepting so many. For example, YPO, it was totally famous to be one of something that was always accept. Forbes Business Constant, it was always accept, but we already received some clients that they had the case deny you trying to use Forbes Business Constant. IAAA, the mid-level membership, it was used also to be accepted, but right now they are trying to understand also when you enter in the membership, when you get. So basically they saw that a lot of the applicants use the same memberships, and they are not granting the criterion so easily. But in the end, for example, imagine if you ask if a membership, for example, like UIC or Antler and what is other options, everything that you can think is always a program to support founders. It's not something like that a founder in the top of their field is going to need. For example, imagine Sam Altman. He doesn't need YC. So in terms of membership, it sometimes can be accepted, but it's not going to be something so useful. Same thing for media. Like if you are a data scientist, try to understand, for example, where is the outlets that amazing data scientist is featured. This is just to give you a sense of what qualify or not. But I know sometimes that if you think like this, you are going to think that's not feasible. That's why always try to ask and identify if you find people that get the criteria accept or not, because sometimes it's not just about Forbes, it's not just about like A16Z. A lot of people are approved with the other stuff. Sun Altman is just an extreme example. It's just to think like everything that you build should support the idea that you are extraordinary, specifically for O-1. And in terms of the criteria, so what qualifies or not? So competitive hackathons, if you judge a hackathon or won a hackathon really small in your school in the middle of nowhere with no evidence, this is not going to work. International and national prize. I also saw state level prizes being accepted, and sometimes even university level. The most important thing is to be open to everyone. When it's just for only students from your university or only a segment of the population can subscribe in the competition, usually they deny because they say, hey, this is not this is diverse based or is based on a group. It's not open to everyone. In terms of professional and business achievements, in terms of awards, sometimes there is a misconception if the award is for the company or for the individual. Sometimes if you are a really small startup, usually this is the same. So you need to try to always to explain. But if you work in a large corporation and your department receives an award, for example, best marketing for Meta, this is not going to be accepted, even if you are the director of marketing, because the award is for Meta, not for you. And this is that kind of confusion that sometimes happen. And awards for startups also. A lot of people ask about some type of grants that big techs give you credits. This also, if there's no program in your country establishing a competition, this doesn't qualify also because it's just a grant. Sometimes it's just a matter of asking. In terms of academic paper, it should be always peer review, or you should publish in a journal that usually also do peer review. And a shortcut for publication is try to publish in magazines and newspapers as an expert. For example, I'm a data scientist. So instead of expecting an interview about my life, what I can do is to write how AI models are going to shape the future this year for a specific type of company. And then I send this to a journalist and they can use as an interview. In that case, I'm an expert giving my opinion. And sometimes they can publish it, having you as an editor, basically. This also work. And this is a nice trick, especially for you if you have a specific background. Sometimes if you're too, if you just, if you're focused on business, sometimes it's difficult. So if you're technical, it's easily to get interviews or articles published by newspapers. So in terms of the membership, I told a lot about that. Even YC is not being accepted right now as membership. So, and again, this is based on the data we have. Sometimes we saw lawyers saying, hey, it's going to be accepted. I was one of this person. I'm not a lawyer, but I was one of this person that was saying, hey, of course they're going to accept. But after getting the data, I was not so happy with the conclusion. So being completely honest, don't rely on that. It's not safe. I would not say they never accept because I already saw some exceptions, but don't rely your visa if you have just 3 criteria and apply expecting to be successful. If you have a 4 or 5, it's okay, try. No rush. But memberships are really non-predictive, so be careful with this criteria. In terms of the articles, I have a hack here. Sometimes a lot of people always try to understand if a specifically outlet qualify or not, because in the end, we always think about Forbes, TechCrunch. But if you never land in the US, you only have national media from your home country. And this is totally fine. What you need to pay attention is, in the end, they are going to use their AI tool to try to understand if the newspaper, the magazine, or outlet in your country can be trusted or not. So a hack that you can use is asking for all the AIs that you have, for example, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, Gemini, and ask if this specifically outlet newspaper can be trusted or not. This is a proxy how their AI is going to work. Because in the past, we use the organic traffic to measure how many people visit the website, and we basically argue with that. And this was a common strategy across a lot of law firms and legal techs. Right now, they saw so many cases like this that in the end, they have an internal list of the outlets they believe or not. And my impression is that they use AI to qualify if they trust or not. So try to use that also. If all of them say, hey, you can trust, probably the outlet that were featured is also can be trusted. It is not 100% accurate, but it's at least an estimation that you can use. Another point about interviews is really important to be about you. So basically, the best format that you can get is an interview talking about your work or your professional life. And sometimes this is not possible. Try to avoid really small articles. Also, articles that just mention you. For example, sometimes there is the list of the top 10 startups in your home country. If it's just a mention, indeed you can use this to support other evidence, but you cannot say that article is specifically about you, because sometimes it's too short, it's just a paragraph. And sometimes it's also always only a commercial publication. For example, you create a new product. This is not specifically about you. It's about your work that you are doing, but it was not a journalist that were interested like to cover your new product. So this is also important. Another thing that you need to pay attention is about the press release. Sometimes you send the same summary to a lot of journalists, and they replicate because, for example, if you raise $10 million in your country, probably you are one of the really small group of startups that can achieve that. And sometimes all the newspapers can want to publish that. But if you use, their AI is also going to check and say, hey, all of this article has a really high similarity. So probably it's a press release, and we don't accept. It should be always an independent work. So that's why for press, it's really important to have time, and you use the art. You try to get an article this month. Next month you try to get another. Even if you get a lot about the same fact, about the same fundraising, try to use one or two. Don't try to put like 4 or 5 with the same story. This is not going to work, because it's going to be denied, because they will think it's not independent. And to qualify, it should be always an independent work. And something that's really important, sometimes it's not signed from a journalist. So you need to check that also. About hackathons, I think I told a little bit. Sometimes the hackathons have only non-famous judges. This is weird, because you cannot state this is relevant or is amazing hackathon. So try to be part. If you go as a judge to a hackathon, try to be part of hackathons that sometimes blend really professionals with a really strong profile, with some junior folks that are trying to build their profile. Because if all the judges are no famous, they are not so mature in terms of professional experience, this is a red flag for immigration also. And change a little bit the subject, how to document everything that you need. Understand that the evidence in immigration is almost never self-sufficient. What I want to say, for example, if you commit a crime, for example, you kill someone in front of 10 people. You have 10 people talking about the fact, or probably someone records, and you have a self-sufficient evidence that basically if you present, a judge is going to accept. But in immigration, this is really, really rare because you have a lot of details to show, and try to think about the evidence as tips that you can show that something is legit. For example, if you judge a hackathon, try to show the invitation, how selective is the process. So for the invitation, you can use a letter, or you can use the screenshot of the email that you receive. And then sometimes they have the selective process described in their website. You can get a screenshot about that. You also need to show that the event happened in the. Sometimes I saw applicants and petitions being denied because people didn't prove that. But you need to show pictures, sometimes videos, sometimes newspaper article covering the event. So it's really important to show that it happened. And also try to prove the prestige and the relevance. So for example, if the hackathon has partners, sometimes the judges are really famous. So we are going to prove the judges' caliber. So in the end, you are going to use different evidence to prove different aspects of a specific criterion. So try to document all of this during your journey. Meanwhile, you are building your profile, because sometimes if you are going to apply in 6 months, 1 year or 2, you are not able to get everything that you need. So if you judge a hackathon, if you won, try to get pictures, try to get a declaration that you participate, a declaration that you won award. Try to get a screenshot and take notes of the dates, because sometimes the website change. So it's really important to be fast and save all of this. And it's totally fine if in, for example, 6 months, the website is totally different and the immigration cannot use. If you don't create with Nano Banana, the image, you can use it as evidence and no problem. Sometimes the website just changes. So try to be really, to cover all aspects of a specifically fact that we're trying to present. What else? Where people usually fail, they claim to have achievements, but they don't show impact. And this impact cannot be just for your company. For example, I sold 1 million of the cell phones. Okay, this is a commercial. Impact is not like society impact or impacting your field. So try to explain that. This is for original contribution. Sometimes people achieve something really, really difficult, but they don't explain well. For example, math and physics competition. I had a really long discussion last week about that. We have 2 or 3 cases at Jumpstart that were accepted with case like that. But we are talking with another law firm that they were not so lucky, trying to argue that you should accept a math competition as the award. And I compete in math Olympiads and math competitions in the past, and they are really, really difficult. Like sometimes you compete with 20 million students in Brazil, and you are the top 100. And the government play scholarships. If you receive a medal, they can send you to the university. There are a lot of benefits if you won a math Olympiad in Brazil, for example. And the lawyer was American, and he didn't know all the details. So sometimes to have the context of the thing that we want to show change a lot. So it's really important. I don't think a lawyer needs to know all the details, but you as an applicant need to give you all the context. Why this specifically point is so relevant. Try to say everything. And sometimes you're not going to use to a criterion, but you can use it to explain your background. For example, even if you understand that's not so safe, apply to use, for example, YC as membership, you want to use just as a award, or if you don't want to use as none of that, basically you can say, hey, I was part of the YC community. I did that and all this stuff. I had some recognition, but I'm not going to present as a criterion. I think YC is not a good example because it's going to qualify as a word, but I don't know, maybe a podcast. Sometimes there are clients that they have a really uh, they have a social life really live, so they want to show that they help it, they share content a lot. Can benefit you because at least immigration can track you online. They can know that you are you, and sometimes they send requests for evidence to make sure that you are you, or if you have any online presence. Same thing for lectures. Sometimes you provide a lecture. This is not going to classify to meet any criteria in the O-1, but you can say, hey, I present this lecture, I don't know, in 2 or 3 events, just as a compliment, not as the criteria. Of course, you still need to meet the 3 or 4 criteria. So everything extra you can say, you can use in your background part. It's not a crime to do that. In terms of recommendation letters, sometimes people don't want to give extra work for recommenders, but it's really important to provide a lot of details and sometimes explain the obvious for you. For example, we got a client that he created basically an instant payment model in Brazil that was replicated across the world. And this guy received a request for evidence because they didn't like the recommendation letter. It was not so completing, explain why Brazil was talking about instant payment, since we already have a government system that do that. And sometimes you need to explain all the aspects to show that this is really innovative. Overclaiming, this is really common when people say, I created the first app that does something. I created the largest thing. I'm talking about this in a place that a person that has a Guinness Book project, a project feature in Guinness Book. And if you have the Guinness Book, indeed, they're going to ask you all the details. But if you don't have, don't say, I'm the first, I'm the largest, because you are going to prove that. And prove things like that is really, really, really hard. Because how you prove you are the first of something? You say, there's no other startups claiming that. That's not a proof. This is probably a tip. So it's really hard to prove you are the first or the largest of something. And another thing, especially for people who are building the profile, is really important to wait a little bit and use and try to meet the criteria in a long timeline. I would say at least 6 months. If you get all the evidence and create, I don't know, basically you are totally shy, and in 1 month you are the judge, you are the winner of a hackathon, then you show in a newspaper. This is going to sound as fraud, so try to avoid that. More than, I think, less than 6 months is really risky, to be honest. In terms of our methodology, I already mentioned, and we have a promo for you, so you can scan or you can just send a message to us, DM, if you have any question. Okay. And in terms of what qualifies or not, sometimes it's better to always discuss about real topics. So if there's something that you don't agree, you are not updated about what's going to be accepted or not, just DM us and we can talk. We can share examples that we have in house or from our database and explain why we think this way. I know we are not like God that can predict a lot of things, but I think we can give you a really good sense of what's working and what's not working. And I saw a lot of clients relying on things that don't qualify a lot. So try to be sure that the things you are targeting is going to qualify before spending more time, energy, and sometimes money. Okay.
Thanks so much. That's great. Given the fact that we have like 20 minutes left, I want to hand it over to Buildur.AI and Fab Thiago, if you want to, in the meantime, reply to questions in the chat that were coming up, that'd be on. Right. Then over to Buildur.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yeah, hi Julius. Hi there. Hello everyone. I'm a founder at Buildur.AI. Yeah, let me share the screen. Okay. Thanks to Julius for inviting me for this session, and thanks to Jumpstart for sponsoring this session. I think most of the details are covered by the Fabiano from Jumpstart, but still, like I will try my best to go through with the organic profile building with my pitch deck. So most of the content I have prepared for the people who are going to, start journey from the like day one, okay, who has like almost zero knowledge for profile building for O-1. Okay, so I'm not an licensed attorney. Previously, I was working with the OpenSphere. I work with the SMA law firm. We help with the immigrants to file O1 agent route, EB to NIW and EB1. So based on those experiences, we have figured out a way for organic profile building. So I will try to share my thoughts based on my previous experience. So whatever the tactics and the pathway we have designed, that is the from my personal experience. So sometimes it goes right, sometimes it doesn't work. Okay. So agenda for the session is like I'll cover a few of the things. What exactly is organic profile building? How O1 evolution works, and I will try to share for the immigrants who are starting from zero. Let's say we divide into three process: position your niche, start building, and conclude with the creating evidence packet. So I'll go through with the two examples, like playbook for judging and speaking and mentoring evidences. And in the end, like I will cover a few the common mistake that immigrants are doing for while profile building for O1 or maybe like EB1. Okay. And the last slide, I'll cover what exactly we are doing at Buildur.ai. Yeah, you must have visited this USCIS website that says, if you have received any international award, let's say Nobel, Oscar, or Olympic medal, you are qualified for the O1 visa. But in case like if you, most of the people, we don't have these awards. We need to qualify three criteria out of these eight. In case of EB1, we have 10 criteria. For the O1, we have 8 criteria. That includes awards, media, judging, original contribution, authorship, and membership similarly. So remember, most of the cases for the O1, immigrants have already good achievements for. Hello.
Is there the proximity issue? Because you're only 1,000 to get.
Can you hear me, Julius?
Yeah, someone just unmuted themselves.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so in most of the cases, immigrants have misunderstanding, like, I have to build my profile, from scratch. But, if founder or like maybe immigrant, he's already doing great in his field, immigrant has already good evidences into original contribution and critical role. It's just like what it requires is like to gather the very right evidences in order to prove that yeah, opportunity. Okay. Uh, Okay, so what exactly is organic profile building? So organic profile building that includes the evidence that has the very right sort of signal that says that showcase the impact of that evidence as well as the recognition, which is very credible and verifiable. Okay, so let's say I'm saying like I'm electronics engineer. I work on a camera product from last 2 to 3 years, and we got the patent and we developed this technology. Okay, so meanwhile, to in order to get the evidence on that project, I have to showcase the impact with that project, and that impact has to be in numbers. Okay, it's like how many people have used across India or like maybe globally. Okay, so precisely we need documentation for each evidences. Okay, so same way like goes to each and every criteria. Let's say judging. Let's say you got an opportunity to any Ivy League university. So in those cases, it is quite easier to prove the value of that judging evidences, because in order to get opportunity into, let's say, MIT or Harvard, you must have received invitation letter, and very few people are getting opportunity for that judging session. Okay, let's compare to any like college level event. So in those events, like it is quite difficult to prove the value of that judging evidence. Okay, so we always suggest to avoid those evidences, so that we share like based on our previous experiences. So now only legit opportunities are getting accepted for the O1 and EB1. Okay, so what else, like what exactly is not acceptable and not exactly is organic profile building? Okay, so when it comes to like you are paying for any awards or maybe like let's say membership. Okay, so there are a few awards you can pay. Maybe you must have heard about like Globee or Stevie. You can pay XYZ amount. Okay, so those awards are not worthy enough. In some of the cases, those are getting accepted, but most of the cases are getting RFEs on those. Okay, so the awards, so the membership that doesn't require any your nominations or your prior background. Okay, or maybe a recommendation, those are not the value or worthy enough to file for O1. Okay, so those are like very low credibility evidences. We should avoid those. Okay, I would highly suggest immigrants to follow a few of the red flags on Quora and Reddit, where few of the, like I would say, scams are happening. Agencies are selling the, I would say, opportunities in terms of like maybe peer review or judging. Uh, we should must avoid those opportunities. Okay, so evolution, as I said, if you are not qualifying, like in the very first category, you don't have any Olympic or those legit awards. We have to qualify 3 criteria out of 8. Okay, so you can consider maybe the critical role, original contribution, and other 2, 3 criteria. Let's say judging, authorship, or membership. You can target like 2 of them. Okay, out of other 3. The second factor is totality determination. Okay, so that goes to your overall leadership. Okay, what exactly how you are contributing to your industry, and that will how exactly we can prove that by maybe like having few of these speaking session, mentoring like few of the startup or like founders. Okay, contributing like non-profit companies. Okay, there are like multiple ways where you can create the value on your profile. Okay, so you can like create like gather like few of the evidences based on like how exactly credible evidence is that, or how difficult it was to get selected as a jury or as a speaker in that event. Okay, most of the time immigrants have one dilemma, like how much time I need to invest in order to build my O1 or maybe even EB1 profile. So most of the time immigrants, they forget about the sustainability factors. In some of the cases we have seen, they pay to few of the agencies, like let's say someone is saying, I can help you with the profile building within like 6 months. But that is like very hard to prove your all the evidences are sustainable. Like you are getting all of your project name on the press and media, and within like 1 month you are getting your name on the each and every press, and that doesn't look like sustainable. Okay, so what are the best case scenario for you? So it's like you studied like computer science in back like 2018, and from 2018 you have few of the projects into like let's say AI ML, artificial intelligence, and from last 5 years you are already contributing in the same industry. Okay, and it means like you are already involved into like maybe projects, let's say original contribution, critical role. In the same field, you are getting opportunity for the judging. Okay, so in that way, for the more longer run, I would say you are sharing your journey about your field. That makes you a sustainable profile. Okay, so I would suggest like avoid getting opportunities that that you can achieve within like few weeks or a month. Okay. So you can divide your profile building process into like three steps that that consider as a positioning your specific niche, industry expertise, then picking up the 3 to 4 evidence areas where like you can consider as the low hanging fruit, which is quite easier for you to pick and bring some value. And in the last section is like gathering all the evidences in order to prove that those are like valuable evidences. Okay, so positioning yourself means like specifying your niche. We call it like field of expertise. Okay, so I cannot say I am an expert of computer science. Rather than like I can say maybe I am a applied AI engineer. I have given like few of the example here. You can say I'm the applied AI engineer specializing in LLMs, known for the practical benchmark for frameworks and across the, teams. So the thumb rule is for this is something uh, uh, credibility and documentation that matters. Uh, Sorry, I missed the slide. Yeah. Okay. So it is very important to fix your industry expertise. So that will help you with the fixing your focus on like profile building. Okay, so that would be quite easier to understand and compare the opportunities, and also that will guide you on the opportunity relevancy. Okay, so the next one is picking the 3 to 4 evidences bucket. You can start with the judging and peer review. So in most of the cases, we suggest start with the peer review process. You can start writing like few of the TCP chairs for international conferences. Okay, where you can write draft email to that TCP chair. You can mention your relevancy about your industry expertise, your relevant project to that conference chair, and you can request for the peer reviewer role. Okay, so the same process you can follow for requesting for the speaking opportunities. You can consider a few of the maybe like hackathon, university clubs, and few of the conferences. Okay, so this way you can target like let's say judging, speaking, and membership is a low hanging fruit. So one of the hardest criteria we already always consider is the critical role and original contribution. You cannot build original contribution within like few weeks or month. So for original contribution, you have to prove your the field of expertise by showcasing all the documents about the value of the project. Okay, and those evidences has to be and quantified like in percentage, like what exactly impact you bring on table with that project. Okay, like how many people are getting benefit with that project. Yeah, so the last step would be, let's say you started working on like profile building. So meanwhile, don't forget to track your all the process. So let's say you got an invitation for peer review, or maybe like mentoring for any startup, or maybe like speaking at event. So try to record everything like digital footprint, save all the screenshot, email, everything in order to build the evidence packets. So it means like after spending like 2-3 months, you must have evidence and documentation for each criteria. So that will help you to showcase with any of the attorney, let's say to jumpstart, and that will help you to get quick evaluation. And most of the time, we have seen like immigrants when they talk to any attorney, like let's say in January they email to any attorney, and they say like please share the list of the evidences or like document. It takes like few months to gather all the documents, and like maybe like after 3 to 4 months they are getting evolution. Okay, so one of the best practice I would suggest is always bring your all the documents related to each and every opportunity and projects. Okay, that will help you to showcase with the any of the attorney for the quick evolution. Yeah, so I will give you like few of the example how exactly
Obama really thought he was hot shit.
Yeah, I will share like my experience how exactly you can start with the peer review and maybe speaking. So most of the people have dilemma like I am not the industry expert, or I am not the celebrity. How I can get the invitation for judging or let's say speaking? So the basic thumb rule is like find the relevant upcoming events and find the organizer email. You can find it through ChatGPT and draft this very simple email, and that email says like, hey, this is my name, I work at this company, I have this many of years of experience, and I have the relevant project experience. Okay, and let's say you are requesting for the peer review, you can mention your previous peer review experiences. Okay, you can mention few of the conference name. Okay, so similarly, you can draft letter for the emails for the speaking opportunity. Okay, so the thumb rule is like you need to write at least like 20 to 30 emails a month, and precisely you need to take the follow-ups for each and every opportunity. And by the time you will get the responses. So I always suggest immigrants to take the help from any agency. It is like better to start from yourself. Okay, it's just like it's just easy as like writing email and finding the right events to relevant to your industry. uh, Common mistake that waste huge time for maybe like profile building or like maybe filing the O-1. Okay, so in most of the time when it comes to like gathering or getting opportunity for O-1 visa, people target on like random achievements. So I always suggest to try to be in the very try to get relevant opportunities in your field of expertise and avoid the irrelevant opportunities. Okay, second is losing proof. So let's say like in 2020, while like let's say in COVID you work with the any of the startup from Y Combinator, and now the startup is like let's say they have shut down the company, and now you don't have any documentation to showcase your project work. So always make sure like while you're working on your original contribution, let's say your project or any of the judging opportunity, try to gather all the evidences related to that criteria. Because like by the time you won't have time or chance to bring more relevant documents to prove that valuable evidences. Okay, avoid paying to any profile building agencies. So most of the in previous cases we have heard the similar stories from my previous client. They have experiences through the agency. So a few of the agencies, they have the tie-ups. They share the paid paid opportunities, but by the time like it's quite easy for the USCIS to catch the hook. Okay, just last year around like hundreds of researchers, they caught up by like they were citing each other's paper. Okay, so you should avoid the profile building groups as well as the agency to pay for any of the opportunity, let's say judging or maybe like authorship as a second author or like maybe third author. Okay.
Quick pulse check here. This is all super valuable. I do want to note that it's 11 a.m. So we can go over,
Yeah.
but just want to give like a quick time check here.
Yeah. So the last slide, Julius. So what exactly we are doing at Buildur.AI. So Buildur.AI can be your co-pilot. So whatever I shared the plan for organic profile building. So for this like process, you need to write like 20 emails for those events. You have to find those events. You have to find the organizer, maybe TCP chair for this event. You need to draft the email. You need to test the follow-ups. So in total, that goes to like 50 to 80 emails a month. Okay, and you have to take the follow-ups. So all these like things can be done from my platform. So my platform will map your resume into specific criteria-wise bucket. You can see each and every criteria. You can add each and every evidences in different criteria. My platform will help you with the identifying the high value opportunities and will give you the precise email and draft where directly you can integrate email to send the request for the opportunity, as well as we can Builder will help you with the taking the follow-up on automation based. Okay, so you don't need to spend much more time on drafting outreach emails and like taking the responses. And at the end, like maybe after spending like 2 to 3 months, you can download the whole package as a for each criteria. So that will help you to bring it to the table to any attorney for the evaluation. That's it. Yeah. Thank you, Julius.
Man, thanks so much for this. This was super helpful and super detailed. I know you guys are all three of you, all four of you, Bianca's here as well from Jumpstart, are working super hard to make immigration easier. So I genuinely respect and appreciate that. Feel free to share like links and resources in the group chat afterwards. If you're not in the Farmer Visa group chat yet, do change that. You can ask questions there. You hopefully most of the time get qualified replies. And yeah, we've grown the community to over like 460 people in like 7 months. So yeah, and if you have friends, of course, you can request chat. Events are going to be announced there, and it's just like good to have people you can rely on when it comes to your immigration. So this is the chat. Thanks so much for your time, and yeah, see you next time.
Thanks, guys. See you, Julius. Thank you.
Thank you.